Thank you so much for bearing with us. I really wanted to have internet connection because we are gonna try and do like a interactive thingy at the end, and we really need the internet for that. Also, we're gonna look at some online tools. The thing we're gonna be talking about are also related to the cloud, so you really need the internet to get to the cloud. Okay, my name is Dragos. I work at MHP. I'm a UI developer. Today we're going to talk about two technologies that are going to revolutionize the way users perceive the internet. So, very new things for the web for end users, and also new things for the web for developers. The title is Progressive Web Apps. They're on the shoulders of serverless giants. The first part, Progressive Web Apps, that's what matters for everyone that uses the internet. And the second one, serverless, is what's mattered a lot for developers that are building the web. So to start, have you ever wondered what it would be like if the web would just always work? And what it would be like if it would work so securely, and also that it would never ever show us that little tiny T-Rex whenever you go into a building or even a room that doesn't have any internet connection. So that's a bit annoying, but finally these technologies enable us to get rid of those. And also, have you ever wondered what it would be like to build these web apps at a fraction of the size and at a fraction of the time it used to take us to develop them? Oh yeah, so there's my timeless reference. I know that one, okay? And well, today, as I mentioned, we will cover these two technologies. And the first one is more like an open web standard. It's heavily backed by Google, but it's also backed by Mozilla and the all major browser vendors. And the second one is actually a cloud product. It's called Firebase. It belongs to Google, and it's part of their whole cloud platform. Okay, so let's take them one by one. Those first what if that I mentioned, being able to access the internet always and securely, and even when you don't have an internet connection, those are possible because of this first technology, and also because it has been adopted very, very much in the past few years. And also, we've been talking about them a bit. They've been adopted by many major brands, but they're not really universal, so to speak, so that's why we're here today, I guess. So what are they? Does anyone know? Okay, so I will preface this. I was thinking that in case you already use Progressive Web Apps, today we're going to look at some of the most current features and what they can do today, because they've grown and evolved quite a lot in the past two or three years. And if you haven't heard about them ever, this technology may be the answer behind some of the magic that's been going on with a lot of web apps that you thought, oh, this really works pretty well. Okay, my internet just dropped and this is still functioning. Okay. So basically, they're just web applications, but on top of them, so they function on all browsers that support them, even Internet Explorer, all the latest versions, and Edge. They're built with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. There's not very much magic for the browser that don't support them. They just work like regular web apps and websites. But if they do support them, which is most of the major browsers nowadays, they get a whole lot of new powerful features. So they are literally sitting on top of what we have today. You don't need to rebuild anything. You don't need to rewrite your entire app base. You have to build on top of your existing code base. Okay, so this will solve us a lot of those issues. Internet Explorer, he's always late. Okay. So I mentioned these modern technologies, and if you access Google's Progressive Web App page, you will see like a definition of few keywords that are more like an ideology. An ideology that sounds something like fast, reliable, and engaging. Well, very true. It's meant, I think, to be also like a teaser for the mountains of good documentation that they have, and I specifically use the term good there, because those specifications are made up of a lot of new technologies as well as best practices that have been building up all of these years on the web. And just to have like a nervous laughter, I grabbed all of those specs and I tried to build something that looks like this. These are the main features, like the baseline features to get a progressive web app. And these are the additional features that would really make your experience on the web gold. It's an entire list. They have even a page that's called the Progressive Web App Checklist, and it's not just what you see here. This is just for thematic effect. Every single section has bullets, to-dos, how you can solve them, use cases, and so on. Okay, so the first time I've seen those specs, even friendly as they were, I got a bit nervous. But as I started digging through them, I realized that this is actually pretty awesome, because what we have with them is finally... What am I doing here? Okay, so what we have with them is finally a complete definition as well as a guideline for how to build a good and an optimal web app experience, cross-platform and cross-device today. So, yeah. Up next, I thought we would go through those features in a more digestible fashion. And instead of even doing slides, I thought what better way to demo this than to actually see them work and work offline. So I will open a great case study for this, which is called Twitter Lite. And where is the screen? There it is. The first thing I'll do is I will try and so I already have this one installed. The first thing that we want to see is that progressive web apps don't live in an app store. Yeah, so I deleted it locally. And if we go to any search engine and type all.twitter.com, we can already see it load up. So what we touched here is the first key feature of a progressive web app, meaning that it's discoverable as it was as any web application or website. Just for search engines. Also, a second feature is that, as you can see, I'm using a smaller window, sorry. And as we resize it, it looks like any other mobile app. And as we size it up, it adapts to fit more content on the wider display. So we covered two things. It's discoverable, it's responsive, it's universal, so you have the same code base that works across all the platforms. Now, let's get to some magic. The key feature of progressive web apps is that you can also install them locally, either on your desktop, either on your mobile. You'll find an option here. And this is like the second or the third way that you can do this. There are more ways that you can install these apps. The thing is, because I've already accessed this particular progressive web app a lot of times, it already knows that I'm probably already saved it, which I did, and I just deleted it earlier so I can redo the process now. But if you access it for the first time and you also do a couple of the main flows, you will get a pop-up at the bottom of the screen asking you, hey, this is now installable, would you like to install it now? Okay, so in Chrome and in Firefox, and as you can see on the desktop, this was only available on mobiles until I think several months ago. Now we can hit the open in Twitter, and as you can see, this is a separate window. I will try to see if I can get the doc to get displayed on the second screen as well. If I could just find the mouse. Okay. Well, guess not. Let's just go forward. Okay, so as you may notice, this is a separate window. It's no longer a Chrome tab. It doesn't live in the browser anymore. and it looks like a native app. So on your mobile, if you were to access this, so feel free if your internet works, if you just access this web app and save it, it will show up in your multitask switcher as a separate native app. It no longer, basically this action here enables web apps to escape those Chrome tabs or those browser tabs even. It will also show up on your home screen as an icon, and that action you may remember from the past. You used to be able to save websites on your phone, so on that same option screen you could use save a shortcut to your home screen, and that was literally what it did. It saved a shortcut to your home screen, but when you opened it, it just opened another browser instance and that website in a new tab. From now on, when you open a progressive web app, it opens in its new window. It's a separate tab. It leaves separately from any browser tabs. Okay, and a very cool thing, I'm even afraid to test this, but no, this is what we'll do. We'll turn off the internet network settings. Offline, there it is. Okay, so now we are offline, and if we refresh the page, this is what you get. So basically what you get is you're starting to miss that little dinosaur from Chrome. You never see it again. There are many ways to implement this. Basically, what it encourages is building your web app offline first, like native apps have been doing it for years now. And this is just a use case. You see the whole UI loaded, but not very much useful data to use, but you see the app at least, right? And this also happens if you completely close the app and reopen it again, you do get the entire screen. Some developers have implemented a 404 screen that's, I don't know, gives you some special information. And what the developers, as we will see with the next application, have saved a lot of content locally, and they have special caching strategies, so you get almost the full experience even when you're offline. So I won't tease you much further. Let's just open the second app. It's the one from Financial Times. I've already saved it previously, so we save some time. Again, it opens in its separate window. Trying to bring that on. Okay, so there it is. Now we are online. This is a web application. Don't be fooled. It looks like a native application. It performs like one. If we jump between articles, we will see it's really snappy. So notice the high detail on responsive design on this one. There are many apps like this. I will get through this after this one. And what happens, okay, let's risk it this time completely. If we turn the Wi-Fi off, say prayer. Okay, and I will open an article which I haven't opened previously. Okay, there it is. We see it loads. Even deeper, even deeper. I'm not even sure how many layers deep they've cached this. Okay, so mind you, we are completely offline now. So this brings us to the main features of progressive web app. You can save it on your device, be it mobile or a desktop. It's responsive, it will work across screen sizes. You can reuse your main web code base for it, you just have to add on top of that. It will work offline. And also another thing, it supports even notifications. This is not strictly brought by progressive web app. I'm pretty sure it was there before that, but it's also supported by progressive web apps using the same underlying technology, which is called service workers. We'll get into details with service workers later on. I hope we get time. But the thing is, you may be wondering, so we have all this power, right? We we seem to be caching a lot of content. And that technology service worker, what it is, it's actually a separate JavaScript. Well, there is, I'm saying it. It's a JavaScript thread it's separate from your application. It intercepts HTTP requests and it stores resources programmatically depending on how you want your experience to outline. And also notifications expose basically a new dimension to your device's operating system, which web apps never usually did. Now there's also Bluetooth and a lot of stuff on top of that. But the thing is, all this is possible because they are working on a secure protocol, so all progressive web apps are served via HTTPS. You also see all the links if you test any of these apps out. So that's probably one of the most important features about them as well. Okay, now that we've seen them a bit as end users, we will quickly go back to our presentation. Okay, so we've explored the core feature. It's discoverable, compatible, responsive, engaging, and immersive. With Financial Times, we've seen that it's linkable. Well, that one I forgot. You can also copy and click any point in the page, just like in any website. So one of the main features of the web, which keeps it the web, apart from native apps, is that you can link to specific resources and specific areas in a page. That's also still there. And it's re-engaging with notifications that I just mentioned. Okay, also secure, we went for that. Now, if you're a developer, you may be thinking, do I need any specific frameworks to use this? Do I need to use just Angular because it's also on my Google? Or do I need to use React or Vue or anything? No, you don't need to use any specific framework. You can put progressive web apps on top of your college index.html page, so it will just work like that. And also another misconception is that it has to be a single page application, that it has to look and perform exactly like a web app. That's also not true. You can make a simple presentation website for a local shop or for any product that you might think of that just looks like a website and doesn't really feel like an app. And you can still give it those progressive web apps features that make that experience so much better. Next up. Yeah, so we did a lot of stuff by hand about 2 years ago when I first started playing with progressive apps. Now there are a lot of tools that help automate all that workflow for you. The code has progressed a lot. The support cross-browser has also progressed a lot, so you used to need to do like small quirks so it works consistently between Chrome and Safari, for instance. Now they're all much more ironed out. And I'll recommend the tools. Workbox, it's probably the most popular library out there for managing your offline strategies and playing with service workers. Lighthouse, I wanted to show this slide, but I think we're running short on time. This is Chrome's built-in auditing tool. So when you hit inspect in any Chrome window, you get one of those tabs, audit, and there you see progressive web apps. If you check that, it will give you like this awesome report with all the features that you do have and all the features that you still need, so you have an actual working progressive web app. The dev docs I mentioned in the beginning, and the Google checklist I also did. PWA Builder, you may be guessing what that is, and web.dev/and, I think, I don't know if that it should be there, but web.dev, this I discovered more recently, and I'll let you find out what it is. Also packed with a lot of good stuff. Okay, and also regarding browser support, it was highly focused on mobile. And when it first launched, I think a lot of people just thought that that's where it would stop. But yeah, so it launched first on Chrome for Android, and then also on Firefox, as well as on Safari for iOS. Later on, we even see it on Chrome OS, and now we've seen it here where we've shown some apps running off of macOS, and also it's available on Windows 10. And yeah, this is pretty much the order that they arrived. And if you're thinking about distribution, I think that content should be there. Okay, so if you're thinking about distribution, I first mentioned that they are discoverable, so you can find them using any search engine. But also, we've had like even 10 years, I think, of mobile apps. Everyone knows what a native app is, and everyone knows that if they want a good app experience, they're going to look for it in an application store. So yeah, we are even seeing them on application stores now, on Chrome, on Android, on iOS. I think also in the Windows Store. That's also very recently announced. And apps like Google Maps Go, which is a lighter version of Google Maps, is a progressive web app, and you can find it in the Android application store right now if you look for it, as well as many others. Twitter Lite that we've seen, I think, also is findable in the application store on Android. And yeah, this is a list. Do some pictures if you like. If you want to test them, these are the exact links. Smashing Magazine, that's also a nice publication. I think that was the first progressive web app that I've ever used, and I couldn't believe my eyes when it actually loaded offline. And Financial Times, we've seen it, Trivago, Uber, I think, also has one. And notice I mentioned phone and desktop. The next category, I'll switch the slide now. Okay, I'll wait for just a couple more clicks. The next category, these are phone only. Now, I'm not sure if this is blocked by the vendor. Makes sense, I guess, for Google Maps Go, you're on the go. But these, for some reason, only work on when you access them on your phone. AliExpress as well, Instagram and Uber I mentioned earlier. Yeah, so if you access these on your desktop, right now, at least from what I've tested, they won't prompt you and won't allow you to install progressive web app. Okay, moving forward. Progressive web apps. I think I've said this term 50 times now. So PWAs have gained a lot of traction in 2017, and even more so last year, culminating as what seems to be a revolution in what is the web for users, as well as for app development as a whole, if you think about it, because it pretty much changes your decision on when you adopt a technology for when building a product. So I'll let that sink in, and we will move further, because we've been talking a lot about client-side and what happens as a user, what happens with, we'll see later on, some client-side code. But the server side has definitely not been standing still either. And for years now, we've seen this shift from what was called on-premises computing, where you own and provision and do security patches and everything, even your database and your code base, which was a lot of the times a monolith, on your own server. So we've seen a shift in the past several years now from that to cloud services like infrastructure as a service and platform as a service, where we now outsource these processes. We still manage them, but we don't manage them that much in detail, and we don't own them anymore. We more like rent them, we rent resources. And a key feature here, I think, is that we pay like a fixed rate monthly, regardless of how much we use or do not use those things. Moving forward, basically going beyond what was until now developer ops, DevOps, and moving actually into development, so into back-end programming. With time, we also understood that it doesn't make much sense to rebuild the wheel and rewrite basically very common functionalities every single time we build a web app, even though that functionality has been built 1,000 times, but that's even optimistic, 1,000,000 times by a million teams for a million products. So we are moving even further from infrastructure as a service to what is now backend as a service. This is more recent, and what it means is we are also outsourcing, and not really outsourcing, basically abstracting away functionalities that we know work, we know are needed, to specialized vendors that are also masters of scaling and security for us, so we don't need to compete with giant companies to build out what should be secure and common experiences. And even a step further from backend as a service, we are seeing another trend. I think this is also related to the architecture's trend of moving away from monoliths to what are more like microservices. Both have pros and cons still, yes, but the general trend is this one, I think. And I think this also helped, together with the platform and the backend as a service that we just mentioned, to split our code, literally our running code from the backend, also to be remote in the cloud. This comes with a lot of pros. There are some gotchas, some catches, but I think a lot of pros because it allows us to excel in a lot of other areas. And what these do, function as a service and backend as a service, they're all very often referred to as, as serverless. How many of you have heard of this term? Okay. So you may know it's not really without a server. It kind of makes sense. It's pretty much a misnomer. It's more without a server from Teams point of view. So not from an application architecture's point of view, but from a Teams point of view. What that means is that the teams focus less. I wanted to say don't focus anymore, but they do focus, they just focus less, and they become more like code managers for a lot of stuff regarding servers and deployments and pipelines, to focus on their priorities, on the product features, because all of those things are basically abstracted away for specialized vendors in the cloud platforms. And so also one of the most important things, so not only does it allow us to focus on other priorities, but also it's a great advantage regarding the way you pay for your cloud services. So it's very common that you have all of those previous levels already in your application. If you also are going to adopt serverless, which is more recent, one of the main advantages is pricing, because if you rent those serverless services, they will not be taxed at the fixed rate every month. They will only be taxed with every single usage of your code. So if you have a user base of 5 users, you'll get costs related to 5 users. If you have 5 million users, then your costs will go up. If you go back down to 5 users, your cost will again go back down. And also the scaling between those things, that's also handled by the platforms. Okay, yes, I went ahead. You're no longer paying for fixed rates, regardless of whether you actually use or need it. And using all of the layers that we've mentioned so far, so not just serverless, but backend, platform as a service, infrastructure, you get all of these aspects taken care of for you. You don't need to buy your servers, host them, you don't need to handle CDNs, you don't need to version, handle security, patching, uptime, scalability, performance, and all until the end. So you are abstracting away a lot of things so you can focus on your actual product, and you may already be starting to guess the impact that would have on your developer velocity. Okay, so these are there are several more powerful options out there. Basically all the major brands have them. Amazon is probably the oldest and the most mature in this sector, well, regarding all the layers at least. Microsoft also has them, IBM, and there are also open source platforms if you don't want to go for paid plans. But keep in mind, even if you do go with some of these major vendors, most of them already have free or trial versions, so you can definitely test it out. You'll see an app that I built right after this, and it was all in the free tier. Okay, so the one we've been talking about today, I specifically omitted it from the first lineup. This is called Firebase. It's owned by Google. I think I mentioned it in the very first slide. And it's part of the Google Cloud Platform. And it has some very, maybe not necessarily unique, but it has some features that definitely put it apart from the other vendors. It has modern API integrations with API, machine learning, and voice assistants. It's highly mobile focused. Even the database that they use, which is also NoSQL, is thought out to support mobile uses, and it favors reads instead of writes because they realize that is what your main use cases will be. Also, it's very easy to use, and it's very fast and powerful. And I mentioned easy to use. You can even access it on your phone. You can do updates to security rules to your database that's in cloud on your phone. Okay, so a lot of features. These are just, again, like they did with progressive web apps. I did this for Firebase, like their ideology. But if you actually go, may the force be with us. If you go to their website, I will move this quickly just to give you an idea of how many services they support. Okay. Yeah, so it has databases, machine machine learning, cloud functions, authentication, hosting. So a lot of these things that what we mentioned earlier with backend as a service, hosting, cloud storage, real-time databases, infrastructure as a service, and performance, crashlytics, a lot of stuff to grow your app and scale your app, a lot of support. I won't go into details here because we are running very short on time. But what I do want to show you is the cloud platform, the console that allows you to build all of this stuff. And that's, I bookmarked it here. Okay, there it is. So this, again, if you resize it, yeah, there it is. Responsive. It will work perfectly also on your phone. And you see a lot of sections. Basically, this is your dashboard for all of your cloud things related to your Firebase application. You can manage authentication, databases, storage, hosting, and a lot of other stuff. If we'll go into the storage section, we will see what is a key value database. It's a NoSQL database. We're still fine. Wonderful. Yes, thank you. Okay, so I won't go into the details here. But what I really want to do is test out an app that I've built specifically for this scope, for this purpose. And I think this app should help us solve once and for all one of the big debates of our times. And if you access this link, hope to God you have internet, because they do work offline, but you do need to access them at least once, like with any other software, to actually use it. Okay, so if you access this link, this is an app, a progressive web app that I built. It's not very much focused on offline experience, although it will work offline. And I will open it here as well for those that don't wish to. I'll bring it here. Okay. So the debate that I was mentioning is which breed is nicer, Shiba Inu or Corgi? Okay. And what this does, I will try. Let's hope our internet is up. I'll refresh the page. Since we're offline. Okay, so unfortunately we're still offline, but still our application loaded. Are you able to load it on your phone? Do you have an internet connection? If you hit the voting buttons, you can actually vote, and in real time you will get updates. Let's see what happened. Maybe we can also show that. That would be cool. We are using the Firestore database that also provides out-of-the-box real-time updates to your client. So you only need to add one method called onSnapshot, and that will automatically update your client-side data for you. Maybe it came back on. Let's see. If you're testing this on your phone, I'm guessing you see the meters go red and orange. Yeah. So depending on who's winning, I've stored some fields in the database, the Shiba votes, the Corgi votes, and the total number of votes. And when I did this, I first implemented that counter using cloud functions, and then I realized, hold on, we're going to do this live. A bunch of people will start accessing it, and they will smash and spam those buttons like hell. And what I've noticed is that with cloud functions, they work well, but they might not be optimal for this particular heavy transaction use case, which doesn't even have any serious business logic, if we're honest. And instead, I went back and used just Firestore, which provides all the support needed for this out of the box. And it would be nice if we could put it here as well. I crashed it at all.
Does anyone have a score, sir?
Sorry?
No, asking the audience if anyone has a score.
Yeah, what's it?
What's the score?
Corgi is winning.
Yeah. Cool. I think we need to finish here.
Yeah, that was it. Thanks for bearing with us.